recruiter here to review your resumes, and the resume we have up first is bad. This person, it takes them over 150 applications to get a single interview, which is actually how you can tell if your resume is good or garbage. If your resume is getting a minimum of one interview per 50 applications, it's a good resume. That works. Like, yeah, you could improve it a little bit, but still, that's good. But if it takes you more than 50 applications to get a single interview, your resume is garbage. And this person's resume for a software engineer backend takes them over 150 applications to get one interview. So this is a bad software engineer resume. And when people follow my method, they end up getting a 1 interview per 7 application ratio. So that is how my method works and how you can tell if a resume is good or bad. So what is the problem with this resume? Well, they immediately failed out of the gate by saying back-end developer. Cool. The qualifications that a recruiter and hiring manager would look for in a Java developer, a C#.NET developer, and a Python developer are all very, very different. If you are applying for a Java developer with a phenomenal backend Java resume to a C#.NET position, you're going to get rejected. You cannot be language agnostic. You have to pick a stack. So for the sake of, well, I guess because I have to pick a stack for this, we're going to pick Java. So I am going to judge this as if this is a Java, which I can hopefully spell right, Java backend developer. Now, what do we need in a Java backend developer? We need Java, Spring, Spring Boot, Maven, SDLC, SQL, RESTful API or REST APIs, microservices, CI/CD, object-oriented programming, OOP, Git, Linux, Unix, Agile, Scrum, Cloud, architecting your systems, Hibernate, Docker, Kubernetes, Kafka, rare but nice to have, full stack, that stuff, DevOps, and MFQ, RabbitMQ. So will I be able to find that in the 20 seconds that I have? Because that's the only amount of time recruiters have. The answer is no, because this is a bad resume and it doesn't get interviews, so I don't think I'm going to find it. So let's see what I can find in 20 seconds for a Java, which I don't even know if this is a Java developer. I just have to pick one and go. This doesn't count. Where's your education? Okay, your education is at the bottom. This should be at the top. Translated product requirements into 23. Okay, what? None of this is relevant except for RESTful API. That doesn't matter. Designated SQL. Okay, but we already mentioned SQL in the first one, so this doesn't count. This doesn't count. This doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. And time. That's all the time they got, and they gave me nothing but SQL, which is something I would want, but the rest of it isn't. So first things first is your formatting is atrocious. This is such a wall of text that I cannot find anything. I may have actually missed some of this stuff because of how hard this is to read. So what you want is you want to use this formatting. This is how you do it. It's in the link below. It's on my website. That is what it should look like. Not this. This is just a nightmare to read. So remember, we don't want, let's do that. We do not want these random lines in between this. We do not want this to be bolded. We only want this to be bolded and this to be bolded. And your education needs to be up at the top. Your education should be here. There is a reason it is here. Let's see. Diploma, bachelor's in science. Yeah, you need it all the way up at the top. Then, what recruiters are searching for. People think that recruiters are searching for keywords. That is not correct. We are searching for qualifications. And the difference between a keyword is a qualification is a keyword plus, the plus is important, how you used it, and the business reasons you used it, and where you used it. If it does not show what, how, business reasons, and where, it does not count as a qualification, and we cannot move you forward. That is why specifically this up here does not count, and thus should be deleted. This does not count, and thus should be deleted. This does not count, thus should be deleted. Also, I'm letting everybody know I'm still a little bit sick. I had my wedding about 2 weeks ago, and I got a real bad infection, throat infection, that I'm still recovering for. So if I sound a little off or I miss some basic stuff, That's why. But if your resume is good enough to get past a sick recruiter, you have a phenomenal resume, which this is not. So those things in red don't count. Then translated project manager requirements into 23 PostgreSQL tables, 61 Go TypeScript RESTful API and authentication flows for Canadian life assurance. How do I need any of that? Besides Agile Scrum and SQL, none of that is relevant besides RESTful API. And that's the technical reasons you did it, not the business reasons you did it, right? We don't want these random numbers. I don't understand why everybody thinks these random numbers are correct, because they're not. Nobody wants these in your resume unless you're in sales. Sales and managers do want those numbers, but otherwise there should be no numbers in your resume besides your contact information and your dates of employment. You don't want them otherwise. And then the problem I have with this resume is it's filled to the brim with hot dogs. So most people have too many hot dogs in their resume. And what I mean by that is I want you to imagine that you're hungry and you go to a restaurant and at that restaurant they say, hey, what do you want? You say, I want a cheeseburger with pickles and onions. They go, cheeseburger, pickles, onions. You say, cheeseburger, pickles, onions. So they go back to the kitchen and they bring you back a hot dog with cheese, pickles, and onions. And they say, here is your hamburger. This is what you wanted. And you would look at them like they were crazy because like, no, I think there's been a mistake. I wanted a cheeseburger with pickles and onions. This is a hot dog with cheese, pickles, and onions. And they say, no, this is what you wanted because a hot dog has a bun just like a hamburger. A hot dog has meat just like a hamburger. A hot dog can have cheese, pickles, and onions just like a hamburger. So thus, based on what you said, this is what you wanted. You wanted this hot dog. You would look at them like they were crazy and you would walk away without paying because that's not what you wanted. And that is the problem with this, is it is filled to the brim with hot dogs. Go, hot dog. TypeScript, hot dog. Let's see, AI letter generation, hot dog. S3, hot dog. Terraform, hot dog. AIM scope, hot dog. Let's see, PostgreSQL, hamburger. GitHub Actions, that's a hamburger. CID, hamburger. 1001 Vit test, hot dogs. Playwright, hot dogs. Hot dog, hot dog, hot dog, hot dog, hot dog, hot dog. Also, you don't want to repeat the same keyword in the same job. So while it is good that you have PostgreSQL here, you don't want to repeat it anywhere else in this role. You do want to repeat it down here, which is fine, which you did put any SQL, which is good, but you don't want to repeat it here or here or here or the other 8 times you did it. You want one keyword, the same, you want one per job basically. So this is why you're struggling to get interviews, is your formatting is awful. And the fact is you don't really tell me anything I need. I don't even know if you're a Java developer because you don't have enough for full stack. You don't have enough for Java. You don't have enough for C#.net. You basically showed that you don't have enough technical, you don't have enough basic skills to get any of the 5 major software engineer roles, which is front end, full stack, backend Java, backend Python, backend C#.net. So this needs to be tailored to a specific stack, and you need to write bullet points that actually show how you do it, the business reasons, not the technical reasons, and where you did it, because this is why you're struggling. And we're in a recession. 2 things can be true. Your resume can suck, and we can be in a recession. Both things are true. So that's all I can do for this resume. And I just want to thank you all for liking, watching, commenting, subscribing. I really appreciate it. And to all of my members, thank you for watching. My members get access to videos a little bit early. You can join in the link below. And I just want to thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate it because I really do. Thank you very much. And let's go to the next resume. Also, if you ever need more help, you can always join my live stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. PST on YouTube and Twitch at twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter. That is where I review these resumes. So, next one. This is a resume of a full stack software engineer. They did not tell me their ratio. They said this resume groups work experience projects by projects. I have listed everything I have done in my last role. I added a skills section to hit ATS keywords. That's not how ATS works. That is not how ATS works at all. that does nothing for your resume, because that's not how ATSs work. I have a short video on that, which I don't know how to link, but that's not how ATSs work. I've applied to 78 jobs and you've viewed a few interviews with a variation of this resume, but 78 jobs is not enough. You need to have more. I created a simplified resume with your feedback and style and interviews with that. Well, this does not look anything like my format. So let's see what we're looking for. So for full stack, what we need is degree, TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, RESTful APIs or REST APIs, SQL, Cloud, Backend, React, React.js, Angular, Node.js, Vue.js, DevOps, CI/CD, Agile, Git, and extra credit for those things. So 20 seconds on the clock. Let's see what I can find and I cannot find. This formatting is atrocious. And go. City, state. Okay, this doesn't count. Data lakehouse. This doesn't count. Architected a secure ETL data pipeline on AWS GovCloud. Okay, none of this is related to AWS. Python is okay. Doesn't count. There's like nothing here. Nothing here. Okay, I mean this resume is. This is not a full stack resume. This is not a full. I don't know what I'm looking at here. You say this is full stack. I don't see anything involving full stack. I see a data pipeline prototype in ETL, which is like what I want for I think a data engineer. But I don't see anything beyond. Yeah, I don't see anything I need here. Like, where is the TypeScript, the JavaScript, the HTML, the CSS? Where is the RESTful or REST APIs? Where's the SQL? I did see Cloud. You did have Cloud. I did see that. Where's the backend? There's Python right down there, which I almost missed. Where's the React, the React.js, the Angular, the Node.js, the Vue, the DevOps, the CI/CD, the Agile, the Git? I just don't see any of that. I don't. Because remember, it doesn't count if it's here. You have to show me in the bullet points. You cannot have this random thing up at the top. Again, this, I don't know what this is. The technical computer skills, this doesn't count. It's not even the ones I would want anyway. And your education is already at the bottom. Almost everything in this resume is wrong. See, supported live spacecast for nothing. This is a hot dog. So that's a hot dog, so that doesn't count. Define ability using Angular. Okay, again, this is... I need the business reasons you did this, not the technical. Why does it matter that you supported operational reporting in real time and data interpretation? I don't know. And the only thing I want here is these two, so there's not enough. Steer the transition from legacy dating into... Okay, nothing in here matters. Nothing in here matters. Nothing in here matters. But you already mentioned this, so again, it doesn't count that you mentioned it twice here. This doesn't count. This doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. This is actually an okay sentence. Built a CI/CD pipeline using GitHub Actions. Built test on an application of Cloud. The problem is you did not tell me the business reasons, so I need something down here that shows the business reasons. Yeah, this is bad. There's nothing here that I could use. I mean, I don't see almost anything I need. I see AWS, which is good. I see TypeScript, and I see Angular, and I see Python, and I think that's it. And that's not 75%. Where's the JavaScript, the HTML, the CSS? Can I even find that? Can you Control F here? No, it doesn't count. There's in the skills section. What about CSS? No, also not there. RESTful APIs? Did I miss RESTful APIs? No. Do I even see any APIs? No, I don't. SQL, I think I found. Yeah, I did find one SQL. What about React? Nope, nowhere there. What about Angular? I did see Angular. What about Node? No. This resume would get yeeted and deleted. There's nothing in here that makes me think you are an actual full stack software developer besides the fact that you title it here, and that is not enough. You need to delete this resume and start again because there's almost nothing salvageable in here. There's not a single good workable sentence that I can use. Yeah, and the formatting's awful. Next resume. This is a resume of a quantitative research intern. Now, they said they've got about 3 interviews out of 12 applications, but they messed up on some of the first stage interviews, and they want to make sure it wasn't just luck. And I will say they are applying in London. These are the London specific requirements. And normally I would say a 1 in 4 is fantastic. The problem is, because this is London and because there's just not a ton of these roles around, a 1 in 4 is not a true 1 in 4. It's probably closer to the equivalent of 1 in 20 to maybe 1 in 35. Just based on the volume of these roles. So I'm assuming this is still a passable resume, but this is not this is the best resume in the world pass at a 1 in 4. Because you really have to take into account how many other applications, like how many roles there are. Because if you get a 1 in 4 and there's only 1 in 4 roles posted every 5 weeks, that's not good. So still probably passes, just not as, but that. So what do we want to do to make this better? We need degree, master's, PhD, Python, C++, mathematics, quantitative stuff. It doesn't matter what kind of quantitative. They want to see quantitative, whatever, however you pronounce it. Statistical analysis, numerical programming, machine learning, pandas, NumPy, R, MATLAB. Communicate technical and non-technical details to technical and non-technical people. You need that. This is not your job, is explaining these complex topics to people like me. All right? You need to actually do that through your resume, or else you've already failed. And you need to communicate with others. You need to be able to. This is a critical one that was in almost every single job description of, can you talk to people? Because they don't want somebody that's just entirely math-based that can't talk to the CEO or loses them funding because they're gonna have to bring you in on some of these meetings. So let's see what I can find. I believe I would have more than 20 seconds for this, but let's just do the 20 seconds anyway, just because of how rare this one is. So 20 seconds on the clock and go. All right, do they know who that is? Cambridge. Okay, this is hard to read. It's used PyTorch and machine learning to find finite dimensional data system treachery benchmark models. No. That one's good. Implemented spectral algorithm of various Python. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why the stopwatch didn't work. This is way too technical. I see why you're getting some interviews, because again, you have the keywords, but you don't really have the descriptions behind it. So first off, do they know who this person is? Is this person well known in the people? Because this might just be a bunch of random words that make your resume worse. Again, I'm not going to proclaim deep intrinsic knowledge of the UK or of London's quantitative development, and these people may be incredibly known, but I would mostly recommend probably not putting that in, because I don't think they're going to know who that is. You can correct me if I'm wrong. And then here, because here's the thing is, I'm struggling to determine what all this stuff is. So remember, you want to fix your formatting. Your formatting needs to be like this, right? You're going to have another bullet point here. You're going to have another bullet point here. And then you're just going to put your, where you got it here, where you got it here. And then stop with this random lines, okay? Right here. And then again, I don't just need your phone number. I need your email. Where's your email? Your email needs to be here. I need your location, because your location matters. And, if possible, your citizenship status. So those need to be here as well. Because remember, you want to use this formatting. Then down here, and most of what they want for quantitative roles is a strong software, a strong background in Python first. And the problem is you don't even mention that till all the way down here in the second one. And this is also way too technical. You have some of the stuff we're looking for, but it's so technical that they're not going to understand it. And part of your job is to communicate these deep, deep technical issues to people that don't know the technical stuff. And you've kind of already proven that you can't, based on the fact that this is very difficult to read. So I would go back to the drawing board on some of this stuff. Delivered presentations and work for some yearly special, gave unified through. Again, why does this matter? What I don't understand this. Again, you're the people reviewing your resumes may have my level of knowledge on this one. I understand this is enraging, but it's true. What did you do here? Because I don't actually know. Designed and mathematically verified the correctness of a technical word-based algorithm computer. Again, why is that relevant? You need to tell me the business reasons you did this. And I understand you're a student, so it's not going to be like making profit, but I want to know, like, why did you design a mathematically verified? And again, that's not really what I'm looking for. You know what I want to see? Created a, I don't know, stock guesser, or created a, let's say, let me do this right, a statistical analysis using Python, numerical programming, machine learning pandas to determine the best point to buy stocks. Right? Like that for our company. That is the kind of stuff I want. And I want you to write your sentence like this. But this is, you're obviously a smart person, but the problem is you can't rely on people knowing what you know. It's like one of the biggest resume creation rules is never assume they know what you know. So, and you wrote this for a bunch of other people of your peers, but your peers are not the one that's hiring you. And I'm not even counting the recruiters. I mean, the person that is hiring you is probably a CEO that wants money and does not understand what mathematical verified error bonds in Python using NumPy and PyTorch to vectorize calculations with certified error. So this one I like, though. I like this. I want a little bit more, but this is actually good because it shows that you can talk to other people. So yeah, that's my problem is you made it way too technical and you don't tell me basically the basics. I need you to write this for your grandmother, and I'm not even kidding. Your grandmother needs to be able to look over these, look at this resume and be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Because right now they're just going to be like, oh, that's nice, dearie. I don't know what this means. Here, have a cookie. Which my grandmother never did that. So anyway, that's the best I can do with this is it's written way too technical. And this is probably closer to, I think, a 1 in 35 to maybe a 1 in 40 if the ratios were averaged. Next resume. This is a resume of a data analyst. So what we need for a data analyst is degree, industry, SQL, data visualization, Tableau, Power BI, Looker, influencing stakeholders, explaining technical concepts to non-technical stakeholders, how you solved a problem with data, not what the data is. That is a big one. MS Excel, macros, pivot tables, VLOOKUP, Word, ETL, Python, R, multiple projects and deadlines, and nice to have is cloud and AI. This person is applying only to remote roles and is getting about a 1 in 50 to a 1 in 75. So for only remote roles, that's pretty solid. So I'm expecting this to be an okay resume that does pass, but there's probably a couple of flaws we can use to make it better. So let's see what is good and bad. 20 seconds is on the clock. And go. Okay, formatting is bad. Where's your education? Okay, good. Built to maintain Power BI dashboards and pageant reports. Okay. Enabling C-student stakeholders to monitor goals. Okay. Created SQL views and Power BI uniform solutions across CFO products. Government trustworthy. Developed microsoft architecture. So you know if your data flaw. This is bad. Generate documentation for different cross. So okay. You actually have some good sentences here. So the first thing is your formatting is bad. You need to make your formatting look like this. But your bullet points are not terrible. And again, the most important part is your bullet points. So I'd rather you have bad formatting than bad bullet points. And your bullet points are pretty good. So fix your formatting. It should look like this because this is really small and really hard to read. And build and maintain Power BI dashboards. Good. Let's see. So that's something I want, right? That is built in. Let's see. So Power BI dashboards. I don't think I need pagented. I think you could say built Power BI dashboards and reports for QBRs. What's QBR? I don't know. And what's OKR? I don't know. But enabled C-suites and VP stakeholders monitor execution against strategic goals across technology portfolio. Again, a little technical, but the idea is right. Created SQL views. Again, this part doesn't matter. And Power BI data models. Perfect. Unified portfolio rich data across our products. Establish trust for business reporting. You told me why. Developed. None of this matters except ETL. Standardized documentation per short across 30 plus dashboards. See, the problem is like you put too much. If you actually shrunk some of these, it would be better because none of these numbers matter. I don't care about this number. but you described it correctly. Like, this is why you're like, this is the importance of the business wise, is you describe the business wise very, very well. I just need you to remove a bunch of these numbers, and I need you to put in a little bit more of this stuff. Like, where's Excel? You know, like, I want a little, there it is, Excel. I missed it because there's so much other junk here. Like, if you just fix the formatting and you put in one bullet point instead of this one, right? Move the ETL somewhere else. Switch that with how you influence stakeholders and explain technical concepts to non-technical people. And then you just fix the formatting and remove every single number you have. I think you're going to be golden. This will not take a ton of time to fix. I think you actually have the core of this down. It's just your formatting is bad, and there's so much irrelevant numbers that it's a bunch of hot dogs. And remember, the only time you want those numbers is if it's leadership or sales roles. Those roles need numbers. Everybody else, you don't want to have it. Also, don't put your stuff up here. And you do need to put where you are located. Oh, no, you're doing remote. Even as remote, you do want to show that you are at least located in a certain city, because that does matter. So you do want to put, like, you know what? No, I'm going to say you don't need to put the city. Do you need to put the city? I am on the fence about that. You may want to put the state that you're at. But other than that, fix your formatting, clean up some of these bullet points. But it's not a bad job. I think this is probably one of the better resumes I've reviewed in a bit. So overall, you got the core of it right, and good job. Next resume. This is a resume of an embedded software engineer or embedded systems engineer. The same, different job title, same job. So this person says, I'll be starting my job internship search because I'm a recent graduate. If you just graduated, you're not going to be able to get an internship. Internships, you need to be currently enrolled in education like 99% of the time. But you can get your first job. So, I appreciate it if you could review my resume. I previously tested your template to see how it performed, and out of 60 applications, I received 5 acceptance responses, which is really good. That's a good ratio. Now I'm seriously looking for positions. I'd like to know what I can improve on. So first off, this is not fully my template. The formatting is off, and this hurts my eyes to read. You had sort of the same idea, but what we need is degree, C, Python, TCP, IP, real-time operating systems, RTOS, Agile, microcontrollers, ISO, debug systems, type of industry and what you're working on. So like aerospace engines or train brakes. I don't know if you'd really have train brakes for this, but whatever. And then nice to have is all that other stuff, SPI, UART, ITC, network, protocol, standards, GitHub, GitLab, Docker, and Bitbucket. But the top part is the most important part. So 20 seconds to find what we need. Let's see if I can find it and go. Okay, degree, good. Okay, good. This is a red flag. Developed an open source Python RTOS, good. Kernel for this is too technical, from scratch using C++. Uses assembly to manage the microcontrollers. Again, too technical, but not the worst. Design efficient Delta Q, non-optimized real battery memory time. Too technical. Interrupt UART driver using poo templates. Okay, so again, this is very, 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 very technical. You did do some things right, though. So the first things first, never, ever, ever, ever put open to reload. It's a giant red flag. What you need to put instead, under here, right? And let me actually do this right here. Right here, you need to put moving to X by Y date, can move earlier if needed. That is what you want to put instead of open to reload, because you need to show that you are already going to be moving to the area, or else it's pretty much a giant red flag. You cannot just say open to reload. Does not work. We are not in that market anymore. Or I don't even know if we ever have been, really. You can't really ever put that. The rest of this is okay-ish, but also your font is off. This does not look like this. If you notice, the font is off, the coloration is off. This is harder to read. This is easy to read. This is hard to read. This is easy to read. Use this as your guide. Fix the formatting. Then, Developed an open source preemptive RTOS kernel. Okay, so remember, RTOS is good. This is what we're looking for. The problem is the rest of this is way too technical. So, like, I don't want you to say developed an open source preemptive blah, blah, blah. Just say developed an RTOS. In this case, it would be real-time operating system, parentheses RTOS, using to manage our microcontrollers in Linux and NV to business reason. Because you did not tell me the business reason. Now, again, I know it's a project, so I'm not expecting you to be like to make $1 million, but there's still a point to doing that, and you need to tell me the business reason behind it. Then, designed a blah, 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 blah. This is probably too technical. The one thing I don't want to say to immediately reject it is this the type of industry and what you're working on? Would somebody in this industry know what that is? Because I'm going to hazard a guess, no. So I'd rather you make this a little bit clearer and instead say, well, I need some of the stuff here that I need. I just don't see it. So this mostly is bad. Then developed an interrupt-driven UART. I don't care about interrupt. I do care about UART, though, right? A UART, whatever that is, an UART. Developed an UART. Do I care about poo? No. That sounds weird. Template? No. Design patterns? No. Again, why did you do that? So I need you to be more specific, and remember, needs to be described for a non-technical person. So I want you to go back to the drawing board, and I want you to put C in Python. You can put C++. Actually, should you put C or C++? But I do need Python, at least. I need TCP. I need IP. I need Agile. I need maybe ISO. I need a debug system. Did I miss a debug system? I don't think so. It's so hard to read. This is very difficult to read. I need to see the type of industry you're working on and what it is, and I don't really see that. So this is good enough to get some interviews, but like this is a pretty hot market. You should be getting like a 1 in 3, maybe a 1 in 4. Now you did just graduate, so maybe yeah, I think about that. I think you should be able to get that. So I'm gonna need you to go back to the drawing board a little bit and make these cleaner, make them less technical, but still add these qualifications because I need that. And I'm missing Python. And fix your formatting. If you just fix your formatting, you're gonna already be in a much better place. So that's all I can do for this resume. I just want to thank you all for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, and to my members, they get access to videos a little bit early. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. I really appreciate it. If anybody wants to support this channel, they can join and become a member below. Like I said, you get access to videos a little bit early, but that is it for me. Thank you very much. I appreciate you all, and I will see you in the next video to help you get ahead of your job search. Later, y'all.